Business Notes. I'm your host, Diane Bogino, President of Performance Strategies and Diane Bogino Development. Our guest today is Jim Fuhs. Jim is President of Fuhsion Marketing of Marietta, Georgia. He is a retired Marine Lieutenant Colonel turned digital marketing consultant, speaker, live streamer, and podcaster with over 30 years of business and social media experience. His business serves several diverse clients, including small business, nonprofits, higher education, and local non-governmental and governmental organizations. Jim fuses Marine Corps leadership with marketing. His 20-plus years of highly successful leadership experience as a Marine Corps officer lets him bring that to bear in the ever-changing world of marketing and technology. Jim, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Diane. I'm thrilled to be here this morning.
And I'm thrilled to have you. And thank you, first of all, for your service to our country. We really appreciate that. 20 years, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So how did you get started in digital marketing from the Marine Corps?
Well, I was always, I guess, somewhat of a geek, a tech nerd. I mean, when I was in the Marines back, you remember dial-up modems? I was the neighbor that everybody would always call to say, "Hey, can you upgrade my computer?" So, even from as a kid, I got the Commodore 64. I know we're probably dating ourselves. People are like, what are those? And so I always liked technology. I actually was originally a computer science major in college, but what I didn't like about it is I noticed that my suite mate, who was a junior at the time, spent all weekend coding. And I'm like, that's not fun when you're in college. I wanted to go out and have a good time. So I changed my major to business. And as they say, the rest is history. So I had always been in, I was a double major in business. I got a master's in acquisition. So I was always, even in being in the military, I was always very focused on business processes. And what I noticed, because I was a consultant doing government contracting after I retired, I would start to run into these people that say, "Oh, I'm helping, so-and-so with social media." And I look at what they're doing. It's like, you're getting paid to do that? And a lot of it wasn't very impressive, especially, and maybe it was just early on, people were still figuring things out. And I think one of the things that drives me is I'm a constant learner. I think, once you stop learning, you start to die in a sense. And so what I like about digital marketing is it's constantly changing. So I was fortunate. I was in a BNI group, and one of my, members of the group basically allowed me to be his, he was my first client. And so I started to get the reputation of hey, this guy knows what he's talking about. And because I had been an adjunct professor at Webster University, and I had done some consulting with the community college, I said, "Hey, would you be willing to start teaching social media?" And, this is truly one of those, fake it before you make it. I'm like, sure, I can do that. And so I threw together a class on Facebook, and that just continued to develop. I've been now instructing for 4 years. And in fact, the day of this recording, I've got 8 sessions coming up between 2 community colleges. I'll be doing them virtually on a variety of subjects. But it's one of these things that I'm passionate about. I really enjoy it. I love helping people. And, so I was like, I've always wanted to work for myself once I was told what to do for 20 plus years. And so this was just kind of like that next logical step. And with marketing, everybody needs help with marketing. And it's really, it's like it's a problem solving exercise, because I would say no, there's not like a one size fits all solution, because a lot of it comes down to your drive, your passion as a business owner. And if the business owner isn't buying into their marketing, it doesn't matter how good of a marketer you are. And I think that's also sometimes a differentiator for me, is it's got to be a partnership if I'm going to work with someone.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. And so what led you into live streaming?
Well, that's actually kind of a funny story. I went to Social Media Marketing World in 2018, and I met this lady that owns a marketing company, Kelly Noble Mirabella, who's now one of the top people probably in the world of messenger bots or chat bots, if you've heard of those. And she invited me to join one of her Facebook groups, and she did a challenge where she was like, you got to go live on your Facebook page every day for a week, and every day was like a new challenge, like, tell people about you. And so that got me over that, as Brian Fanzo calls it, that fear of pressing the damn button, as they say. And so then I started to watch a lot of live streams. Things were starting to get to where there was a program called Be Live. It still exists, and but as an example, you and I could be watching this like we are, and we could say, "Hey, if you'd like to join us, just click this link." And so a friend of mine was having a show. It was actually called Marketing and Merlot. It was a Thursday night show, and I had started to use Instagram TV, and they started talking about it. And like, does anybody know about that? And I was like, in the audience chatting, yeah, I do. Like, oh, well, why don't you come on? So I started talking about Instagram TV on this live stream, and Tim Sohn happened to be watching the live stream, and so he contacted me after the show. He's like, hey, how'd you like to be a guest on my show? And I'm like, sure. Like, wow, this live streaming stuff could be something. And so I was a guest. I talked about Google My Business, which is another thing that I do for folks that want to get their business on the map. And after that episode, he's like, "Well, how'd you like to co-host a show with me?" So literally now, as of last week, 100 episodes later, here I am, still live streaming, and it has been so much fun. I've been a guest on other people's shows. I've also been I'm a guest co-host. It's actually been a few months now on another show called Social Chatter. But what I love about the live streaming with what we do, which is because there's so many different formats, is we do what we call the co-host with a guest format. So we bring people on and we interview them. We've gotten to, interview some amazing people, Bob Berg, Mike Alton is another guy, Stephanie Liu. And we really look to bring on people that help small business owners, entrepreneurs, and marketers improve themselves, because we don't know everything. And I think that's one of the things that people, you know, have to realize as small business owners, like, you can't do it all, right? It takes a team. Even if you're a solopreneur, you hire specialists. Like, don't do your own accounting, don't do a lot of these things. You might save a couple bucks, but how much time are you wasting? And so I think that's where the live streaming has been great, because it builds awareness of both Tim and I, builds awareness for our guest, and we get to learn as well. And then the more, I would say the thing that's even more fun about live streaming is the audience engagement. We use a program called StreamYard. They actually sponsor our show now. And we're actually able to bring people's comments on screen, you know, interact with them. And I think that really helps build that community that then comes back and watches your show. And so, yeah, I love it. And it's really been something that has allowed me to shift during these crazy times where now I actually help people do their own live streams.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll ever have the courage to go live, but maybe one day. So then what led you to start podcasting?
Well, so there's an interesting dynamic that I've noticed. I don't know if you want to call it the psychology of people, that live streamers don't like to blog, podcasters don't seem to like to do live video, but then there's a lot of people asking, well, how do I live stream? So Christian Karasevich, who is the host of Social Chatter, who I guest co-host on, said, hey, we should do a podcast about live streaming. It's like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So now that we had all this time on our hands, we're actually able to focus, start recording the episodes. And so we just released episode 22, I believe, on Monday. And it's called Launch Your Live. And it's to help people not only start live streaming, but also improve at it. Because there's so many little things, even just like what you're doing here, even as a recorded session, right? It's the audio, it's the lighting, it's what program are you going to use? How are you going to present different information? And these things are always changing. And, but I also think that it's that whole thing of making people understand that live streaming may not be for everyone. You know, it's
Mm.
kind of like everything else, right? Simon Sinek says, you know, what, sure, why? And what you may find is the information you provide, maybe it doesn't need to be live. And you know, so there's nothing wrong with recorded video, but I would say in general, video, what I like about video is the fact that it's every sense, in a sense, comes across except for right now, right? Touch, taste, and smell.
Mm.
And because when you think about a text message or even a post with a picture, we miss out on the context. And with a video, you know, even as an example, because I know that you speak with people, you can get my voice inflection, the vocal variety, all those sort of things that just aren't always there when you have a non-video view. I mean, even a podcast to a point, it's audio. You may misread the, you know, the audio as far as what the context is as well. And so what we found is like there really wasn't a lot of people podcasting about, you know, live video. And so we think we found, you know, that's a big thing with podcast. We think we found a niche.
Mm. Well, I
Or is
could
it
also,
niche?
I'll leave that up to you. But yeah, I could see the spontaneity of live streaming and the excitement that that could bring it as well. But what do you enjoy most about your business?
I will tell you what drives me is I love helping people. I love seeing other people succeed. I don't know if it was because, you know, a part of being a Marine, especially as a Marine leader, is to help our Marines move up the level. You know, the job of a Marine leader is to train the people under them to take that next step up in the leadership chain. You know, because unfortunately, you know, sometimes, especially in combat, people go down. Well, that next person has to be ready to step into that role. And that only happens if you develop trust and systems and processes to allow people to know, okay, what am I supposed to do? As opposed to that kind of that dictatorship, like you do as I say, and I'm not going to tell you how to do it. Don't question me. So I enjoy helping other people because I think it's really, uh, you know, that's what drives me. I enjoy seeing other people succeed, and I even look at it right. It's kind of the good karma thing. If you do good things for other people, it comes back around. And so you know, you know, and I think maybe because I am retired, I have a little bit of that. I want to call it that safety net that I don't have to, you know, take any deal that comes my way. I can be picky. So I really look at the importance of building relationships and know, like, and trust, even as I build my business. Like, I'm not going to just take anybody on as a client because I've made mistakes as far as clients I've taken on. And I'm sure you've been through the same thing, Diane. You can become very miserable and the money's not worth it.
Hmm. That's right. Yeah. Sometimes you have to fire your clients.
Yes.
Well, you're helping people that goes in with your teaching that you do as well. So, Jim, tell me, why should I work with you though, your company? What do you bring to the table over some other marketing? I mean, they're like coaches. There's one on every corner, right?
Right. Well, I think what makes me unique and even part of what I am is like I do marketing the Marine Corps way. It's like, well, what does that mean? Well, I'm a retired Marine Lieutenant Colonel. I helped stand up the Marine Special Operations Command from scratch. So I've been in organizations that have built from nothing to something. And the Marine Corps does what we have this what we call this 5 paragraph order format or SMEAC. And it's similar to other things you hear, but one, as I like to say, I'm strategic, you know, surgical and precise. We attack the problem and we move forward. So we look at, like, first of all, what is your situation? what is your problem that we're going to solve? And then the mission is like, really, what is your goal? What is it that you want to do with your business? And then we look at the execution of, let's come up with that plan that's going to allow you to accomplish your mission. And then we get into what I like to call the admin and logistics of, what is the times, the talents, the people, the resources that you currently have or need to have to move to the next step. And then we have what's called command and control. Who are the key decision makers to move things forward? And it's really like a loop. Like we just keep reassessing that. But by having that process in place, I feel where I'm different is, one, I'm able to quickly analyze what you're doing, and partially based on experience, education, but I also have leadership skills that a lot of marketers maybe don't have. I'm not afraid to have you make a decision, even if it's not, it's a decision not to work with me, because I think too many times business owners get, if you want to call it, paralysis analysis. They don't make a decision, and that by not making a decision, they're costing themselves time and money. And I'm sure you've seen folks that they're still in the same place that they were a year ago. And I guess that's like, what do we call that? The definition of insanity.
Right. Yeah, that's my field where people have me conflict. Yes, it's their behavioral styles where part of them wants to go 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 go, but there's another part of them that says, no, wait, let's look at this, let's analyze this, and people really get stuck in that, and it really prevents them from moving forward and be a success in life. So, yeah, it's a powerful thing to have to overcome, but it can be overcome.
Yes.
And there are people like you, thank goodness, that help us do that. Well, Jim, look, you have brought a lot of good information, I think, to people that are considering getting into this crazy technology world and the marketing world, live streaming, podcasting. People can make a living at this. They can have fun with it, meet people all over the world without getting on an airplane. So I think that you have brought maybe some hope to those people that might be stuck. And I appreciate you being on the show today. And again, I appreciate your service to the country.
Thank you, Diane, and appreciate you having me on today. It's great talking with you.
You are welcome.